All right, everybody, welcome back. We are diving deep today. And get ready, folks, because we're heading straight into some pretty choppy waters with this one. We're talking about the Panama Canal,
Right.
global power plays, and, well, some pretty bold statements from President Trump.
Yeah, can't wait.
And, I got to say, as we started digging into this,
Yeah.
we found some seriously surprising stuff about potential migrant flows.
Really?
And U.S.-China tension. So buckle up. This one's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me how the Panama Canal, this little strip of water basically has become like a focal point for some really huge geopolitical tension.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a crucial shipping route, right? I mean, so much goes through there. And President Trump recently, made a statement about like taking control of it, and it's basically sent shockwaves, across the globe.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in Panama.
Yeah.
They are not happy.
And it's not hard to see why. Right? I mean, the U.S. has this really long and honestly kind of complex history with the canal. I mean, we built it, we controlled it for decades.
Right.
And then finally in 1977, we signed this treaty handing control over to Panama.
Right.
And that was a big deal. It came after years and years of tension. Even riots back in '64 where Panamanians who were demanding control of the canal clashed with U.S. forces.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of bad blood there.
Right. So for Trump to even hint at seizing it back, it's like it ignites all those old anxieties. It raises a lot of questions about international law and just, where is U.S. foreign policy at?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Panama is not taking this lying down, right? I mean, former President Balladares, he basically issued this pretty stark warning saying that Panama might, and I'm quoting here, open the gates.
Oh, wow.
And allow this massive wave of migrants from South America to head north if the U.S., takes any aggressive action.
I mean, that's
pretty intense.
Yeah, this is where it gets really complex. We're not just talking about a little diplomatic spat or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a potential humanitarian crisis.
Right.
You got to think about who are these migrants, right? I mean, you're talking about people fleeing economic hardship,
right,
political instability, violence. I mean, who knows? The scale of a movement like that could be enormous.
Right.
Imagine the strain on resources and infrastructure, the entire migration route.
Yeah, all the way up through Central America and Mexico. I mean, even to the U.S. border.
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's a lot of people.
And it's like a geopolitical chess match with incredibly high stakes, you know? And then you throw another player on the board.
Right.
China.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget about them. So Secretary of State Marco Rubio, his first foreign trip in this new role went straight to Panama City. And, I mean, it seems pretty clear that the U.S. is worried about China's growing influence in the region.
Absolutely. I mean, China has been investing so heavily in Panama, particularly in infrastructure. I mean, they're building ports, railways, they're even building a whole new city.
Wow.
I mean, it's insane. And this is all part of China's Belt and Road Initiative,
right.
This massive, global development strategy.
Right. And so for the U.S., this is a concern, right? Because it's China getting a foothold in a region that, historically they've considered to be, their backyard.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how's the U.S. responding to this, potential threat?
Well, that's a good question.
Well, according to our sources, Mauricio Claver-Carrón, Trump's envoy to Latin America, is proposing something pretty bold. He's talking about free passage for the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard ships through the canal.
Okay, so, normally a large ship going through that canal can cost hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
Even millions of dollars.
Wow.
Free passage for the U.S. That's a huge economic advantage, right? I mean, it allows quicker, cheaper movement of all their military assets.
Right.
But it's also a very provocative move. Imagine how Panama, already feeling threatened by the U.S., how would they react to essentially having their sovereignty undermined?
Yeah. I mean, I would assume. And then there's the question of how does this impact, the already tense U.S.-China dynamic. I mean, it's getting pretty crowded down there.
It really is.
And the Organization of American States, or OAS, a key diplomatic body in the region, has definitely taken notice. Luis Almagro, the Secretary General, tweeted that the U.S. really needs to, respect those existing agreements with Panama.
Right. And the OAS is basically like a forum for all these countries in the Americas, right?
Yeah.
To address shared challenges and promote cooperation.
Yeah. So their stance on this issue is significant, because it shows that the U.S. is facing pushback, not just from Panama, but from like the wider international community. But Claver Crone doesn't seem too concerned, actually.
Really?
He was even quoted saying he doesn't care what the OAS thinks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty bold.
Right.
So we've got a really complex situation here, right? I mean, you've got Trump's threat, Panama's, really strong response, China's growing influence, and the U.S., basically scrambling for a counter strategy.
It really does, and it raises a fascinating question for me. If the U.S. actually did seize the canal today, would the global backlash be stronger or weaker than it was back in the day?
Oh, that's a good question.
The world's changed a lot,
Yeah.
Alliances have shifted. The balance of power is constantly evolving.
Right.
It's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but lots to think about for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.